This is the Run Recap.
Because of our great fan base.
Yeah, it's huge now, right? It's doubled, I think.
You know, it might not be large, but it's loud.
Especially to you.
Especially to me.
Are you getting the most volume?
I'm getting, the feedback I get, it's just...
is the loudest.
It's a lot. And so...
and constant, probably.
And constant. Like,
Yeah.
it's, constant conversations. I'm just being inundated with feedback.
Yeah.
All the time. And so this is a fascinating one that I've been thinking about for a little while. So probably one of our most dedicated listeners was reading a book. And you see these things on Instagram all the time. You see it on books. And it's not, I don't think it's an abnormal thing. But I think it's John Acuff talks about, and I've heard a lot of people talk about it too, is your inner hype man.
First, who is that?
He's like an inspirational guy.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we'll probably get lots of feedback now about how much I'm missing this.
Okay.
Writes a bunch of books and stuff and like a lot of things, real big in like business things to, encourage people to keep doing business stuff.
I see the name around and I have no idea who that is.
In that world, he's, one of the more famous people and stuff.
Yeah.
And so anyway, so talks about that, your inner hype man and, the ideas. And I know that, people experiencing this in lots of different ways, but the idea of you're running and then there's an inner monologue going that's just telling you like, you can do it, keep going, you can push this hill, the next thing's only this or that or whatever.
Yeah.
And, in order to keep you going. And so anyway, and I can relate to that in a lot of ways. I mean, there's places I feel that for sure. I remember when I was first snowboarding, talking back to the mountain, like it's trying to beat me. You're like, nope, you're not beating me. I'm going to make it through these next 3 bumps before falling down.
Yeah.
Or whatever. My first 10 days especially kind of went that way. But anyway, so I understand what it is. But anyway, but then they were asking, okay, well, what's yours? And you and I think might have, probably have similar experience in my opinion, but I'm curious about that because we've been doing these types of exercises so long. This is not a newer thing. And again, I can only rate it with things that I haven't done for very long personally. But, okay, so for you, let's go with running specifically for right now, and we could open up to other things after that. But for you, when you're running and it's really hard, what is the inner monologue? What happens in your head? What do you experience?
Man, I don't know. You mentioned this before, like as a topic to talk about, and when a run is really hard, the practical narrative I use is like, get to that tree. I've kind of always used that. Like, I just have a marker. Like, I have to get to this point and then I can stop. Knowing I'm not going to stop. But if I get there, then I can be done. That's all I have to do. I just have to get, it's usually like 10, 20 feet. Get there, and then I can keep going. And then I can stop and shut it down, but I know I'm just going to keep going.
Sure.
And so but yeah, I was trying to figure out how I experience like an inner dialogue, an inner hype man, and I don't know that I do.
Yeah, when you're looking
way.
at like, okay, you can get to that tree. Is it you can get to that tree almost like something else is talking to you? Or I guess that's the thing that I think a lot of people experience is like, in your head is now telling your body or something along those lines where you have this almost like an outside voice speaking to you of like, okay, Mike, you got this. Let's get to that tree. You can do it. Is there anything like that you experience?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's interesting. I guess I didn't think about it from that perspective because, I do that to clients. I try to be that way for other people. Like, you can do this. Right. You got be that positive voice in their head because you see the negativity coming. I don't have that inner dialogue. It never comes across. Of whether I can or can't do something.
Right.
It's just whether I'm allowing myself to give up or not.
Yeah.
So if I get there, I can stop. I have the freedom to stop and quit if I want, knowing I'm not going to.
And you're just making decisions at that point. You're just deciding.
Yeah.
You're running along and like, I'm going to get to there and then I'm going to decide what I feel like.
Right.
But that's just you talking to you.
Well, and it's just me.
Or not even you talking to you. It's just you looking at a thing and just deciding what you're going to do.
Yeah, and obviously knowing underneath I'm not going to stop.
Yeah.
But giving myself the out if I have to. Worst comes to worst, I can stop at that tree, even though I have a mile left. Right.
So did you ever have that?
I don't think so. I can't think of a time where I've had the, you can do this, you're good enough, you're gonna be okay, like power through, or the extreme of like you're the best, you're the best there's ever gonna be, you just push through, it's gonna be amazing. I don't know that I've ever had that inner dialogue.
So I experienced that I don't think anymore. I rarely have that. It's more like you. I'm just doing math.
Yeah.
I'm going along being like, okay, my encouragement is, okay, I've got to run this many miles. Okay, I've gone that far through. That's a quarter of the way through, which means it's halfway to halfway. And if it's halfway to halfway, then I can make it another halfway. And when I get to there, then I just got to do the rest. And then it's all downhill and then it's a piece of cake. And so I just do that math, which is like runners are notorious for doing that type of thing.
Yeah.
So I do that when things are hard. I do that a lot. And then trying to listen to my body to then decide if I need to make changes or, so I'm running along and like, okay, no, if I push this, I'm getting hurt.
Yeah.
I need to not push this right now.
Yeah, of course. There's that.
So then that's like what you were saying, where it's just making decisions.
Yeah. It's just logic.
And so I do that inner hype man, I totally get it because I've experienced it different times. I think the closest I get to that is sometimes I have a negative hype man, which is so funny because I don't respond well to that in real life, so I don't respond well to like the stereotypical, coach from the 80s, where you're trying to wrestle or something like that. And the guy's like, you're never going to amount to anything. And you're like, I will too amount to anything. And then you amount to something because you beat the guy because you got to prove your coach wrong or whatever. Right. And,
I think anger falls into that too. Like you just have to get angry at it.
Right. And that thing. And I don't respond well to an outside force like that. They're like, you'll never run anything. I'm like, oh no, maybe I won't.
Man,
you might be, man, if you don't think so either, you've been watching me train.
You might be right.
I was kind of feeling that way. If you agree, okay. We should probably call it good now.
I mean, I thought I was going to do like, okay, but if you're saying that, I must not be.
Yeah, because I put a lot of effort into this. And if you're saying I'm really not going to get it, I'm going to go focus on something else. Like this is the time that, this is the time I don't wrestle anymore. I should probably go back to cross country.
That'd be such a great skit.
So,
oh man, okay. Just shutting it down.
You know more than me. You're probably right. So. And that is literally I've had very minimal experience with coaches like that, but when I have had people try to inspire me in that way, and I think that's pretty normal. It takes the I think it works really well for some people, and those people it works really well for, I think it works really, really well for. All of a sudden they do get like, I got to prove the world wrong.
Yeah. And
I do think that's where we end up with our world-class athletes that often are mentally ill, right? When you really dig into like anyone that achieves that top, like, you had some demons you were fighting, in order to push that hard.
Yeah.
And anyway, so I can relate to that a little bit. Sometimes I will get in my head of like, okay, I know you want to give up. You can't give up now. Because then you really can't live with yourself. Then you are actually a piece of crap. Don't do that. Keep going. You're just being sad. Get over yourself and run. So I get that, but that's pretty minimally. I get that sometimes. And like, okay, no, you got to do this.
But that seems to go back to when I imagine you have times when like you're feeling low, right? And then it doesn't equate to those moments where like just like life is rough or you're in it's been a funk for a few days and like is it those times when you get that
definitely
window?
It's those things or you've been fighting in life like you're just trying to get over these humps and you have like they're all piling up and you're like okay, I'm gonna go for a run and your run's not going well and you're like well, I can't fail at this too or I don't have anything else. I gotta do good at something. And so now it's like, no, kick this up a notch. We're just gonna power hard for a half mile and get over this hump and get through this so I can prove to myself that I can keep going in everything else in life too. I feel like I'm doing the exact same thing. Where everything's falling apart on me right now. And so there's that. And when I do get in that, it is it is then a separate dialogue.
Yeah.
It's me talking to me.
Okay.
So it's then like a split thing. My brain's telling my body like, no, you don't get to also do this.
Yeah.
You got to prove something.
What it sounds like from what you're saying is people have like an inner coach or an inner hype man, like you're saying,
Right.
that push them through.
And that's what I
those
think a
hard
lot of
moments.
people experience or even develop on purpose.
Yeah.
And maybe it'd be good for us to do that. Like try it. I
Maybe.
don't know. But
Yeah.
but I don't experience that side of a coach being like, no, you can do this.
Yeah.
You're doing great. Push a little further. Keep going,
It's all about the motivation for me. Like why? What I'm not that competitive when it comes down to it. And so running is like a way to feel in shape, to be outside. Like it solves a lot of just practical problems. I don't care that much how fast I am,
Right.
even though I want to be fast, because back when I was working on my mile and trying to get my mile as low as I could, I was trying to get under 5. And like I had a very specific goal of getting under 5, and for like a year and a half I was really working on it, and I didn't really care if it was outdoor or a treadmill. I was just trying to get sub 5, and I think I got, I was getting down there. I was getting 5:30, 5:20, 5. I might have gotten single digits, like 5.9 or something.
Yeah.
I never broke 5. And whatever.
Yeah.
Like I don't really care.
Well, and in the grand scheme of things, those things with, unless you're on a team or something like that, what does it ever matter what any of us run for anything, right?
Well, but
It's
I think a lot of people put a lot of pressure on those goals they have, or like the races you do or the races Nikki does. I wonder how much pressure is being put on. I have to train for this thing, and so it's not about. It might be about the time that you do on that race, or is it just about accomplishing the race?
Well, and I think people experience that in a lot of different ways, right? For many people, for many runners, it is, I'm going to set this goal because just surviving this thing is its own goal, and depending on what it is and where you are, just the surviving a distance absolutely can be a thing, or I'm going to survive that distance with any way possible, So I have friends that have done that. Where like, no, the goal is I do want to run a marathon. I want to say I've run a marathon, and if that means I got to walk some in that or whatever, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I want to go this distance so I can feel accomplished in this way, and probably helps relieve like feeling accomplished. Yeah, well, man, there is something really therapeutic in feeling really accomplished in something that doesn't actually matter.
Yeah.
So,
The ship is sinking.
Is it sinking?
No, the noise was like.
Oh. We're doing okay here. We're on the.
We're not falling off yet.
We're not falling off yet.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
But where were we going?
Sorry.
But I think, it is that like, just accomplishing a thing like that where, and I guess it's always those things. I feel that all the time. Like I like feeling accomplished by running because it does give me some confidence for other things in life for sure. You're like, oh, I can push that hard here. If I can push my body, then I can push in these other ways too.
I wonder if this is baby syndrome, like fourth kid syndrome of like I don't.
You don't have an inner coach because we all outer coached you your whole life,
or have a false sense of I know I have a false sense of oh my gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? Confidence.
Well, like,
right.
Do you
false and not false. Like I'm realistic about what I'm good at or what I'm not good at, but I don't think I can't do stuff.
Sure.
Yeah. The barrier to doing something or accomplishing something is just how much do I want the thing, and usually I just don't want it that much.
Right.
Or I sabotage myself and convince myself I don't want it. Right. It does both, but for the most part, it's like I just don't care. It's like running 8 miles, like the distance running. That's why it's so hard for me, because like why?
Yeah, you're halfway through and like I don't need to run 8 miles today.
I ran the longest I've ever ran is I think it was 8.5. I was running just to do it. There's a really pretty loop in the summer years ago, from where we live in Ballard, and you have to go up this half a mile uphill. Like imagine like I'm trying to think of what a good street here is for it, but like the length of Doomsday Hill,
Sure.
but a little more up and downs, a little steeper with some flat spots, but like
Yeah.
about that length, maybe slightly shorter, but about that steep. So like there's a hill there, and then you go to the Green Lake, you go around Green Lake, and I was going to come back, and like it was going to be like 9 or 10.
Okay.
And I'm like, let's go slow. It's a sunny day. I want to be outside for a long time. Let's
Yeah.
do that. I was going, I made it all the way to the lake. Around the lake, let's come back. I probably had a mile and a half left. And I was going up this hill, and I was tired, but wasn't like exhausted. I wasn't breathing super hard. My legs weren't dying. I saw Elise driving, and I flagged her down. I'm like, no, I'm done. Like, just because I didn't care anymore. I'm like, this is just taking forever. And I don't, it's not the difficulty. It's just why am I doing this? Like, she's here. I could be home in 5 minutes.
Right.
Let's just do that.
Well, there's a piece of that that where I think just people are different in that way. Because I definitely enjoy my long runs where now I have to be out that long because otherwise I got to walk home and it takes longer, you know?
Right.
But I could really use an hour and a half of just being out here, moving my body. I don't have a goal to accomplish or anything like that. I just be out in the sunshine on a beautiful day. And I have to do this, which means I have to let everything else be.
Yeah.
So I can't focus on all these other things that are weighing me down. They have to go over there for a while. And I can just go do this, clear my head, and forces me into this kind of, a really long meditative state to a degree.
Right. Well, and that's something I had to learn how to do. Because like I would run in college, on our off days, I would run 3 to 5 miles every now and then, but like not consistently. And then when I was getting back into working out and running consistently, like in my late 20s, there was a loop that was 6 miles. And I'm like, I feel like I need to do this.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of practice of like, okay, go slow. And like getting to a meditative state where, and this is sheer boredom, not because of difficulty, just to manage the boredom of it, where I would close my eyes halfway. There's nothing, I wasn't going to run into anything, so I would close my eyes halfway so I could just see enough and then zone as much as I could. Just to get everything out of the way, so I didn't know how far I was going, didn't know what was happening, and to like be half asleep during it. And that was a good like trick introductorily to get me to get me into the distance.
Yeah.
And like, okay, then you do it. Okay, it's not so bad. I guess I can do it, you know. But like, just I had to get to that state of tuning everything out, which was I don't know, it's hard.
Well, it's some of the longer distances that I enjoy is because of that. Where if you run shorter, it's almost like the whole thing's over too quick. You know, it's like I could go run 3 miles, but then I'm like, okay, but I need more than 20 minutes. You know, I don't feel like I even reset in 20 minutes. And so getting that, it is why I like my 6 miles, much my go-to if I, for just helping my brain. Cause it's like, it's at least 45 minutes. Yeah. You know, and if it's a slow day, it takes closer to an hour and I can just go and cruise. And I feel like I actually got a reset in that amount of time.
See, that's interesting. Why do you feel like you need that amount of time for a reset? Because I understand that mindset. That is what most of my runs are, is like, I just need to be outside for a while, but I can accomplish that in 20-ish minutes.
Well, and it really does work to do it faster than that, which is funny. So there's times that like, you know, you feel like I got to get a run in. I really don't have time. And often that's been helped by Christy telling me to like, you know, just like, okay, I know you have time, but you do have time for 1 mile.
Yeah.
Just go.
Right.
Run a half mile away, run a half mile back. Yeah. You know, any way you want to do it, just go do it real quick. And then it will help.
Yeah.
And then I usually complain for a little while and then I go do it. Right. And that still does actually reset, but you feel that, but I love getting into that where I've warmed up and then you kind of get into a little bit of flow, you know, so it's like 2 miles in, I'm finally warmed up and my legs now are just hitting a nice rhythm.
Yeah.
And then I can do another like 3 miles there where you just kind of are in a relaxed rhythm for a while. And so then I get my, you know, 25 minutes of relaxing in more of a flow where my muscles are all feeling smooth and all that stuff. And then the last mile, you're just kind of going along and finishing it up. But but having that middle state for 20 minutes. So it's like got the warm up and the cool down. In the middle part, you still get that 20 minutes for you, you know. And so anyway, so I think that's where that whole like 45 minutes to an hour helps with that a lot.
That's what makes it feel, that's a sweet spot for you.
Yeah.
But, so what's your inner dialogue then for, you were talking about being, like the negativity from the coach doesn't work, right? So, but you can do that to yourself every now and then.
Yeah. It just does it for me, you know, and I don't do it very often. And I actually feel like the older I get, the more, and you know where your limits actually are. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I've been running so long that I know how hard I can push, and I know where at this amount of pushing, you know, my body won't work anymore. So it's no longer like, it's not my head being like, oh, I want to give up, this is too hard, and my body, but not tapping into that extra in my body. No, I know where I can push my body to where I'm throwing up, I'll faint, you know, I've pushed those limits several times. I know where they are.
Right. So
I don't need to trick myself into getting closer to there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And the older I get, the easier it is to end up there accidentally even.
Yeah.
So, so I'm careful not to push with that. I'm careful to like kind of shut up that inner dialogue because they could make me push too much. And I don't need that. You know, I don't need to be, you know, calling Christy to come pick me up 2 miles from the house because I can't walk now, you know, which has happened. You know, I think it's only been like 4 or 5 times, but it's full on happened where like, I'm going to faint right here. Someone has to come save me now, you know? And, so I know that's there. So then because of that, I don't do those tricks anymore. And where again, like as a younger runner, when it's in high school and all that, you always had more than what you knew how to get to. And so, you know, like, okay, let's try and tap into that next thing. And nowadays it's more like, I don't need to tap into anything. I just need to be more consistent and get in better shape. But I already know how to tap into everything my body's got. Yeah. I just need to get more consistent to where my body can give me as much as I want it to. Yeah. So I think that's where I can get that negative one, but I don't let that in very often.
So do you do the positive one a lot then?
I don't do either one.
Either one.
Most of the time it's nothing.
Yeah, so I mean,
either one will go too far.
When you're real runners like us, you just don't need an inner dialogue.
That's what it is. But I wonder if it's not, I mean, to a degree, obviously that's the silly way of saying it. Right. But to a degree, it is maybe that we know how to push ourselves. We've done it for so long. That isn't trying to tap into a new thing. And that inner dialogue, I think, does help you tap into a new thing. Yeah. But I don't know that that's there anymore, and that you can tap into that without someone else talking to you.
Well, yeah, and I think we've both experienced that in very different ways, and I think you're right, because like in college, for you as high school, for me, college was the time when you learned how hard you could push yourself. Right. And it's weird for me to think back on, because I didn't accomplish in college what I could have, like what my potential was, but the workouts I did. I feel like the workouts I pushed to where beyond what I thought was capable, right? As far as just effort and speed, and then strength, and like the whole spectrum. And so that's part of the reason I think why I don't care anymore. Like, I don't want to work that hard. Yeah. I did it, and I'm very happy I did it, but I don't need to do it again. Sure. And I wonder if that's a lot of people, like they're still trying to find, people who maybe they were athletes when they're younger, or maybe they weren't and they're getting into it later in life, or when they were in high school doing whatever sport they were doing, they didn't get that push from a coach because they weren't top tier, or because they just didn't have that environment. Sure. And so now they're like still trying to figure out where they're at, and
probably still have some, a lot left in the tank. Or if you're a newer runner, if you've been doing this for the last couple of years, if you've been, and you're still learning how to push and how to push there, then I think having that inner coach, you need a coach. Yeah. And how often, I guess, how often do you have someone train you?
Not as often as I want. I used to, like a couple years ago, I would have, and not consistently, but I would have one of my trainers at the gym. Like, I would just hop on their schedule and be like, I just need something, because I didn't want to think about it. Yeah. I don't like, I might have been following a program, I might not have, or I just didn't want to write a workout for that day. So I would just hop on, like, just train me. I need something that I won't think of doing. Because, like, even though what I'll actually sidetrack. What I usually do for workouts often is I'll follow a plan that I wrote for someone else, because if I'm writing it for someone else, I'm going to write what they need. And if I'm writing it for myself or just deciding what exercises to do, I'm going to do the stuff I want to do.
Right.
Right.
Totally.
Like everybody does.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
That's hard. I don't want to do that.
Right.
So,
and this is the thing, it's the right type of hard where it's like, I like pushing this thing.
yeah.
I don't like pushing it
Well,
over
I
here.
wrote it for them because like this is a good workout and I actually would enjoy it, but it's also the stuff you need to be doing, right? When Elise was pregnant with Lockwood, it was perfect because I wrote out all of her workouts and like it's all stuff I needed to be doing too.
Yeah.
So it was great. Like right now, I wrote Brian a real unique kind of full body strength workout. It was like an 8-week cycle, and I haven't been following it strictly, but like that's what I've been going to when I need to work. I'm like, oh, I'll just do this because I don't. It's some things that I really like doing and some things that I just don't want to do, but I know I should. But no, coaches. I feel like everybody needs a coach in whatever form it is, whether it's an actual like someone is training you, or it's just the accountability of having a partner. Like I still view a workout partner as a form of coach.
Well, and then there's the coaching, like what you're just talking about, as far as like making a plan, helping you do, giving you motivation to do the thing that you didn't really want to do. Not even motivation, just like, hey, today you really actually need to do this, no matter what you feel like. Yeah, this is the workout you need to do there in order to keep this all well-rounded and for your health and everything. Different having someone there telling you how hard to push and what intensity to do.
Right.
And that's what I feel like I needed that earlier. Right now, I find that more, I don't need that.
Yeah.
I know how to push hard just fine.
Exactly.
And I know also even when I'm pushing that is like, okay, I know where I'm at with that. That's stuff I've been trained so long on that where I know that if I do push as hard as what they're trying to encourage me to do, I don't get to walk for 4 days.
Right.
And I kind of want to do a workout tomorrow too. And the next day, all that. I want to take 4 days off.
Well, and then that's the consistency too of like, you won't be able to walk for 4 days because you haven't been doing all of the things for so long because life is inconsistent.
Right.
Right.
And so then it's like, okay, no, I'm actually choosing to back off of that because I would rather not have a 4-day recovery, like a 2-day recovery.
Yeah.
That's too hard for what I've been doing.
Yeah.
I'm going to back off on purpose so I can more consistently do this.
Yeah.
And not have to recover for a week.
Yeah, I think it really does come down to just how you want to push and like not knowing that you have pushed like that before. And if you want to do that again, some people want to. Some people want to. They want to be at that peak wherever they were as often as possible.
Yeah,
they want to get back to it, no matter how old they're getting. Like I want to hit that feeling of peak. Like even though their times or their strength might be different,
but it's their peak. Everyone's got their peak.
But, well, yeah, and that feeling of I'm pushing to capacity.
Yeah,
right, to everything I can, and I just don't care. Like for instance, and I try to help certain clients with this. That kind of need to understand how cycles of life work. Right. That you don't need to be at that level all the time. Like in college, I squatted. I'm gonna brag. This is huge for everybody. All the weightlifters. This is massive. It's not actually massive. But I got up to 4 plates on a back squat. So 405 for I don't remember. 1 or 3.
For me, that's bragging. I still can squat about what I can bench.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at.
Right. For the non-lifter, that's a ton. For real lifters, that's like, all right, good, you're getting there.
Yeah, sure.
But it is a very substantial weight. It's a good lift. I will never lift that again. I don't think, and I have no desire to. Like if I'm up, in whatever is heavy for where I'm at, and I'm pushing, I'm getting stronger. That's great.
Right.
But like I don't need to hit that again because. Like running, tapping into that type of a weight mentally is a different thing. If I haven't been lifting that type of a weight where you are like sprinting, you're done at 2 reps.
Right.
You do 1, you do 2, and nothing is happening after that. Right.
Yeah.
That's a different mental state. And if I haven't been doing that very much, getting back to those type of weights takes a shift. Shift, and you're like, okay. No, this is how I tap into that inner strength and that mental state to push that kind of thing. Like when you're running and it doesn't matter how fast my legs go, I'm doing this.
Sure.
And I won't walk for a while afterwards. That's just the way it goes, right? And I don't know, I just don't need to be in that mindset again.
So
know?
I do like being in that kind of, I like to be where I'm pushing to a limit on a regular basis. But but I think that's the key right there though, is if I'm not doing it on a regular basis, if I'm not consistent,
Right.
well, then it is no fun. Because
Yeah.
it is like, okay, I can push to everything I've got now, which wouldn't be great
Yeah.
compared to anything I've done before. And again, I'm not walking for 4 days because I haven't been consistent.
Yeah.
But I do love being in the shape where I can do that. And the next day I'll be a little sore.
Yeah.
But I can still go for a run. And the next day I'm fine. And then 3 days later I can do it again. And I love being there where I'm pushing really hard, real consistently. But I've got to be on that 5 to 7 day a week workout.
It
And if
takes
I'm
that
not-
consistency.
If I'm not doing that, then I don't want to do that just randomly one day.
No.
Because then it's just horrible. Then it's like, okay, now I broke all my muscles down. Now I have a 4-day recovery. And at the end of that, I'm not better for it because I had one hard day. You know, I didn't do this. The consistency wasn't there. And so I'd say specifically for where I'm at right now, it's like, okay, well, you know, work got real busy. So I came off my workout plan and then I got sick. So then I came completely off my workout plan and now my lungs are shot. I'm starting from scratch is what it feels like right now. And so now to go out and push super hard today, well, like all that does is delay actually my training.
Right.
That didn't help anything.
Yeah.
I just tore my muscles down super hard. And now I have a long rebuilding to go. And I know if I can't for sure be consistent from there, well, what was the point of that anyway?
Right.
And at this point, until I already get strong enough so I can handle pushing that hard, there's no point in doing that. It doesn't actually help anything.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that's kind of, I think that's where, to go full circle, where like, no, at this stage right now, I keep that inner dialogue. I keep them shut up.
Yeah.
Like I don't need that right now. That's not useful for me. It's just going to get me hurt.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to be getting anywhere where like I need to go.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's just not something I care to tap into very often. It's like the sprinting thing I was talking about, I think a couple weeks ago, where if you're not in it consistently, you do it once and then you're just frustrated by how hard that was because you don't like how hard that is. If you're consistent with doing that type of a push, then it's great.
Right.
But then, like I don't remember if we talked about it or not, but like I did a few months ago, I did some sprints on our assault treadmills, like the self-powered ones where you can actually max out. And I was doing them and it was great. And it was so hard and I was so frustrated that it was so hard.
Right.
Because I'm like, I don't like that it makes me feel like this, which means I'm not doing it enough.
Yeah.
I shouldn't feel like this over 300-meter sprints on a treadmill, right? With a full recovery. Like I'm not doing intervals here. I'm not doing anything crazy. I should not feel like this. And you need to, but you have to be consistent.
Yep.
To do that. And if you're not, then
and when you are
like, was it
consistent
worth
with that, it's so much fun.
So much fun.
You know, to push super hard and then again, yeah, you're going to be hurting the next day.
Yeah.
But the day after that, you're fine.
Yeah.
You know, and then it is just fun. So anyway, I think that's kind of where I'm at right now. Is like I'm at the starting over stage of that.
Yeah.
And maybe a month from now, maybe when I go run this next half, which I don't plan to. Actually, really, I don't have a goal for this next half. Really, you know, I want to run it fast enough to be enjoyable.
Yeah.
And that's it. I'm about a month out.
Yeah.
Starting from scratch.
Right.
So I'm just going to get back on the plan, do that thing. And I think I'll still be able to run it right around in the speed that I was planning. You know, I'll run maybe a 145, maybe a little slower, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And it'll be enjoyable. And then, but wait till, and then it's the week after though, that's where, in all seriousness, for Leadman, I really want to push hard. And I think I will do that. And I probably won't really be in the shape for it.
Yeah.
So then I'll have a long recovery.
So you'll probably dig deep for that one. And actually,
probably will.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so just because it's going to be fun to push that as hard as I can.
Yeah. Because the Leadman's that snowboard, mountain bike, and then run, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
That's why do you feel that one is the one you want to push hard on?
I think it's the opportunity.
Yeah.
Because I aged up.
Oh, right. That's
right.
You're saying that.
I am the youngest now in the old man category.
Yeah.
I don't get an opportunity like this again.
Yeah.
Okay, I got to see what I got there for that. And we'll see. Oh, it'll be what I got for where I'm at, you know, obviously. Because that's only 5 weeks out.
Yeah.
Like, that's not enough time to get in the best shape I can get in.
No.
By any means. But it is enough time to get in, you know, to kind of get there pretty quick.
For sure.
So I can get I'll have to ease into it a little bit here. But if I just stay really consistent between now and then,
Yeah, you'll be fine.
I'll be pretty fast.
Yeah, barring any unforeseen circumstance.
Oh yeah, don't get sick again. Right? Can't control those things.
What's the complete side note? When have you thrown up most recently from working out, from a run?
Oh, from
Workout or run, whatever.
Yeah, at a workout was like 2 years ago, year and a half ago, something like that. Did it a couple times.
Yeah.
I hadn't done circuit training in a long time.
Oh, and training
those
out
circuit
of
training classes I hadn't done in a long time, so I didn't know where to push, and I kept feeling like, okay, I got a few more. Okay, my heart rate's popping up in that 180ish.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, but I can bring it down. Okay, go ahead and do it again. But managing that in that type of working out was not something I'd done in a long time.
Right.
And I did not manage it well.
Yeah.
And then I had to leave.
Yeah.
So
I've had that. That's usually lately in life. That's where it hits me. Is like when you're just doing something you haven't done in a long time.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh no.
Yeah.
I had one last year that it wasn't even a workout. It was, we had this challenge going on at the gym, and I was trying to get my client to push himself on the rower. It was a 500-meter row, and we had like a leaderboard. I'm like, let's do it. Let's get as fast as you can. And to try to motivate him, like, whatever you like, if you go out and beat your time, I will do it. Like, I'll do it right after you. And so he got his time. He beat it by like a second, like barely. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I'll go. You dictate my speed. Like, what time am I shooting for? And I kind of shot myself in the foot here. I could have taken the easy way out. He was like, all right, so it's 500 meters. Like, it's like, all right, your time is 2 minutes. And that's not fast.
Right.
At all. And so I'm like, okay, ask one of the guys how fast I should go. And so then one of the other trainers like, oh, they're throwing out different times. I'm like, oh, okay, so here's a faster time. Yeah. And they threw out something stupid fast. And so I'm like, okay, well, now I have to. I dug myself into this hole. I have to go. So I did. And I got the time. It was fine. It wasn't like my max, but it was like getting up in the range.
Like in that 80-second range, probably?
No. For 500 meters, you're getting up to like, the fastest I've done is 118.
Okay.
And so I think I did 130, but anything in the 130s is difficult, and you're dying. So
I know the 60-second 400 is the fastest I've ever gone.
Oh yeah.
And then add another 100.
Yeah.
And
so I hit the time, and I didn't throw up, but I had to train someone right after.
Yeah.
And like, luckily it was someone I knew really well, but it's like I was sitting for half of it. I'm like about to throw up the entire time. Cause like you just jumped right into a max effort sprint.
Right.
Like, no, this is not going to go well.
So my most recent one though was we're coming up on the 1-year anniversary of it. So it was in April last year. I did the Spokane River Run. Yeah. So a 10K, and I was in good shape for it and everything last year. And so did that one, and as usual, I mean, with the way all my runs go, where like one guy took off, was way faster, so I didn't bother with him and stuff. And then I fought the rest of the guys, and like, okay, might maybe make top 3 or whatever. Yeah. So I'm going along and doing all that, and I'm kind of, and for like half of it, I'm like in 5th or so, and just kept cruising along. But I'm in contact; I can see everybody around everything. And so then, anyway, so I got up to where I was like, so I was in 3rd. And then but I'm pushing pretty hard. Yeah. And then with a half mile left, this like 14-year-old comes up and starts running like next to me. Yeah. And now there 2 things happen when a 14-year-old runs next to you. Yeah. Is either they're overdoing it. Right. Because they don't have the wisdom that I have. Yeah. Right. And they know, and I'm kind of watching them, seeing about their breathing and stuff, seeing how they're doing. And so you can.
And you're hoping the whole time that's the case.
Yeah, you're watching that and like, okay, I don't think they got this. Yeah. Like, I got another gear left that they're not ready for. I got this guy, right? So cruising along, I start doing my old tricks and stuff. Yeah. Where like, I'm just gonna go in right behind him and breathe real quiet, So just gonna hang out and I'm gonna like trick him and stuff. Yeah. So coming around, I'm like, but then I was like, I'm pushing pretty hard though. Like this is about what I got. I'm like, no, you still got a kick left. I've never had a kick, but I believed in that moment. I always believe with 200 meters left, I got a kick. Yep. And they're not ready for it.
It's there.
It's never happened.
No.
Yeah, because my kick then goes into like maybe 5-minute mile pace. That's the fastest I ever move.
Yeah.
You know, and these days I don't know if it's even gets to there. You know, so anyway, so come around, and this race has a long straightaway to the finish line.
Okay.
So it's perfect. So you come around a
Yeah.
corner, and you probably have a good like 300 meters, maybe a little further, is the last stretch.
Yeah.
So, and he's definitely not ready. The fact that I got a kick that can last that whole 300 meters.
Yeah.
Just fine. He doesn't know it. You know,
Yeah.
even though I'm dying, I don't think there's anything left, but I know I can tap
Yeah.
into this thing. So I do.
You're not going to be able to maintain your speed, much less kick.
So I turn the corner and I put my head down, knees
Yeah.
up. My pace changes slightly. And I do go past him. And then for about maybe 100 meters.
Yeah.
And then he blows me by me like I'm standing still. Because he actually had a kick and he's 14.
And he was waiting for his kick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, he's been running this whole time not knowing how to tap into all that energy he's got way
Yeah.
earlier like he could have and run.
Right.
And he'd been ahead of me the entire time.
Right.
And he just still definitely not sprinter speed.
Yeah.
Way faster than
Real
me.
fast.
Definitely like twice my speed. Blows by me. I'm like, okay, I gotta at least stay close just to like, you
Yeah.
know, not look like an idiot here. So I like still just kept pushing and pushing and pushing. Like I pushed so hard, and I watched the video later because Christy was there. She got a video of me crossing the line. Like,
Yeah.
I'm maybe doing 6-minute pace.
Yeah.
Like it's not much, and you see me just pounding the ground so hard with my feet, trying to get everything I could out of it. I crossed the line
Yeah.
and instantly start dry heaving.
Yeah.
Just like, oh no, okay, no, you're okay, Oh no, okay, you're okay. Oh, there's a garbage can. Just make it to the garbage can. And I keep going. And I get to the garbage can, throw up in the garbage can, get up, but I'm still like walking through the line where you just go through the finish line. People are trying to hand you a medal. They're trying to give you like a banana, and you're doing all this stuff, right? Because we're at a fun run.
Right.
And I'm puking. And I get out of that one like, okay, I think I'm good. And I'm like, now I'm like delirious. You're wandering around, kind of staggering a little bit. I'm like, oh, here goes again. Found the next garbage can. Threw up again in the next garbage can.
The double throw up.
And then I'd like wander around for a while and then come back to my family after that. And, you know, and when you're younger, you feel proud because you're like, I pushed till I puked. And I didn't feel that. I felt like kind of embarrassing to puke at a fun run.
You know, you're at a different level than everyone else.
It's
you know?
yeah. Those guys faster than me, they don't know how to push like I do.
Okay. So I have two questions about that. One, when you have had to throw up from a run, do you throw up right away, or does it take a while?
I've had both happen.
Really?
I've had it happen where like I sat down for a while and then threw up. I've had it where I've sat down and then blacked out. I've had it to where but this one was like, I didn't think I was going to puke actually. I knew I know my heart rate pretty well, and I know that I can sustain a 180 plus heart rate for about 30 seconds.
Okay.
If it goes longer than that, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to pass out. I'm going to throw up. Something's going to happen.
Gotcha.
That is the peak I've got, and I've got it for that long.
Yeah.
And this one I pushed it to probably about a full minute. When I was sitting right there for that full minute. And so as I'm going, I'm like, okay, I know where I'm at. This is not good.
Yeah.
This is the way it's going to go.
Yeah.
And so just kept going and going and going. And then, but maybe I can still catch this kid, you know?
Yeah.
And so, and got through that. And you know what the funny thing is? So here's the incentive for that actually I really love is that if you make top 3 at the negative split races, they give you these pint glasses.
Oh, right.
And I love the pint glasses.
Yeah.
And for me, that's totally worth pushing as hard as possible because I like my collection of pint glasses. And so
tapping into that really competitive mode and that self-coach just for the pint glass.
Just for the pint glass. And I'll do it again. You know, no different than like Leadman. Who cares if I make top 3 in Leadman, right? Like it doesn't matter at all. But I'm like, but that's a fun thing. But really, nothing really matters that much, right?
No,
and so
nothing matters. Well, I just ask because from workouts, I never throw up right away.
Okay.
I sit down and I feel terrible for anywhere from like a couple minutes, maybe that quick, but to like 45 minutes.
Okay.
Like I've missed buses from school because I couldn't move.
Yeah.
And I knew I needed to throw up and I could not make myself throw up and it just wasn't happening.
Dude, this one was about to be projectile at the finish line.
Oh my gosh.
Like it was like I swallowed it back. Like,
oh no.
hit the finish line, like, can't do that here.
Everyone has to walk
Please,
through it.
God, keep this in. You know.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so I have another question though. When you the psychological game of like controlling your breath and like pretending basically like you're not working as hard,
Right.
where did you learn that? How well can you still tap into it?
Oh, I can do it really well.
Yeah.
I'm still really good at it. And I can quiet my steps.
Yeah.
Do all those things.
Yeah.
And no, that was a Tyson trick.
Okay.
So there were three tricks
Mm-hmm.
that I remember, and I don't think it was taught to us this way, but this is the way I internalized it.
Yeah.
Is there are 3 tricks to just destroying the person that you pass,
Okay.
to where they are not gonna go and they're not gonna come back and try you again. Next time if they're running and they start to catch you, they're gonna think, I'm running too fast because I'm about to catch this guy.
Yeah.
And he blew by me like I was standing still.
Yeah.
And he wasn't working hard at all. And I'm working pretty hard. And if
Yeah.
I'm coming up on this guy, I need to back off actually.
Yeah.
And it really does work. So first of all, when you're running behind somebody, get real close, run right on their shoulder, and get real quiet. So
Yeah.
you sound like, I'm just hanging out.
Yeah.
I'm just going for a fun run.
Yeah.
And then just wait for your time to pass. Now, your time to pass is not the ideal time. You try to find the unideal time to pass.
Yeah.
Pass them on the outside of a corner.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And so that was the next thing. Is like, if you're going to pass, yeah, straightaways are fine to get where you need to be or whatever. But if you need to destroy someone, you pass them on the outside of the corner.
Yeah.
And that way that it just breaks them.
Mm-hmm.
And so and then you plan ahead of time as you're sitting there drafting off them, calming your breath.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that calming is actually just calming you too, where
Yeah,
like
yeah.
all of a sudden, because I'm going to get ready for a burst of energy.
Yeah.
Because when I do go around him on the outside, I'm going to go around him hard, and I'm going hard for another 30 steps.
Yeah.
So that I go around him, set into a new pace,
Yeah.
and I'm going to stay there for a little while so he knows that, like, no, I'm not the guy you get to run with.
Yeah.
And then the next one is pass them up the hill,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
you know. And
Definitely
so,
pass people up hills.
so even if you need to save a little bit so that you can use your passing, so you just, again, hang out on the guy.
Yeah.
Find a hill, even if it's a little one or whatever, but wait till you get to a hill. So again, the inopportune moment to pass. Because if I'm going to pass you when it's hard,
Yeah.
not when it was an easy pass, then you
Right.
really shouldn't be running with me.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what you're trying to,
Right, right.
you want them to think that like you have no business running where I run.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
no matter how much that's usually, especially in that, like usually not true. This guy's probably like maybe 4 seconds slower than me, you know,
Right,
if
right.
that, and that's just today, you
Yeah.
know, like, you know, at any given point, you might be even faster than me. We're just, you know, if you're a mile in on a 3-mile race, you know, at that level, and we're in the vicinity of each other, we could probably any given day beat each other.
Of course.
You know,
Yeah.
so
That's interesting because like I have similar tricks or skill, but I didn't learn them for that reason or in that way. Like I think it was all ego. Actually, I think it was just college ego that taught me how to do that. But like now I can still, when I have one of the guys train me, or if I'm hiring someone new and I have them train one of the team as kind of a part of their interview process, and if I'm the one they train, I'm a difficult person to train because I'm not going to show how hard it is
sure.
ever, you know. And I think some of that is from college. It's this, and I don't wonder if I learned it from you, and that's what I brought to college, or if I honed it in college, or if I learned it in college. But
Yeah.
I'm not sure which way it was. But that idea, not those exact techniques, but that idea of I'm gonna recover, like we're gonna do our sprint workouts. I'm gonna take 3 breaths, and I'm gonna be fine.
Yeah.
And that's how it is. Or I'm going to not breathe hard through this 150-meter sprint that I should be breathing hard on,
Yeah.
you know, because it's the 10th one we've done.
Right.
But I'm going to slow. And when I'm further away, I'll breathe hard there. But if I'm close, I'm going to control my breath and make it look as simple as possible.
Well, and sometimes those things are good tricks to do to yourself too.
They are.
Right?
Totally.
So you do
There
that
is
and you're-
actual
and you're
benefit.
like, cool, I'm good. You know,
Yeah.
but you could do it the other way around, where you could do that exact same run at the exact same speed, and actually feel horrible afterwards.
Yeah.
and in the same shape and doing the same thing. I've experienced both those things. Sometimes when you can do that, like you're, I guess, still fits into our theme for today, right? Fits into that inner dialogue.
Yeah.
So okay, well there we go. There's the difference of inner dialogue. When I'm at that really competitive state,
Yeah.
it's like, you're cool. You can do this all day long.
Yeah.
Not a big deal.
Calm down. Bring it down.
Calm down. You're good. Just
Yeah.
relax. You can beat this guy.
Yeah.
Piece of cake, you know?
It depends if someone's there or not.
Uh-huh.
I don't have the inner dialogue if no one's there.
I
So
rarely do. Sometimes.
There's a
rarely.
performative aspect to it.
Absolutely.
If I'm doing workouts if I'm in the gym in like the training gym where it's just me, there's no one there, like that's a whole different story. If I'm in the gym and there's other people around, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm doing incline treadmill intervals with pull up leg lifts or whatever, like some nonsense workout.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to breathe hard through it.
Right.
I'm going to be running 10 miles an hour at a 14 incline.
Yep.
And hop off, take a breath. Okay.
Yeah.
Pull ups. Yeah. Just go right to it. But
The big breaths afterwards are like also the best trick
yeah.
because you can. I mean, actually, you should probably tell me if this is actually happening or not. I don't know if it's actually happening. Here's what I feel like I've done is I can re-oxygenate my body after pushing at an anaerobic state for a long time.
Yeah.
And if I'm in good shape, 3 big breaths.
Yeah.
And be like, I can go again.
Yeah.
Probably can't really.
Yeah.
But I feel like I could.
Yeah.
And when I've been in peak condition, I really could.
Yeah.
You know, where like, you know, I remember, man, towards the end of the year through cross country. So I'm in the best shape of my life, and I could run a race, push as hard as I could. Like there was nothing left.
Yeah.
But I'm in such good distance shape that it is get through the finish line. You're in line while they keep track of who's that. I take 3 big breaths while I'm there. By the time I'm done, I'm like, I could do it again.
Yeah. Your lungs are good.
But I probably was actually in good enough shape to run. I could run a 5K at that speed. I could probably also run a 10K about that speed at that time.
Yeah.
And it didn't mean I had more speed left.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just that I had more distance ability than that.
Yeah. I think you're just built mentally and lung capacity for just endurance.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, it is fun.
That just kind of is your gift.
Probably, and I think I don't know if it's as much physical it is mental, right? Where it's this.
I think it has to be partially physical.
You get through that, and it's like it's fun to feel tough enough to go do it again.
For sure.
And I really enjoy that.
But I've experienced the same type of thing, being in shape enough to where, like, yeah, you do this crazy hard run, and you finish. You take a whole breath. Good, done. I feel like I can do it again. I try to do it again, and I don't make it a quarter of the thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I'm like nothing moves anymore,
Right.
you know? So like, I think you just are, I mean, those are different types of workouts that I'm referring to.
It's not like I can do that all the time by any means. It's like, no, there's been times that do that. And I think the addictive quality of that is that sometimes it's true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right,
like it's most of the time it's not, but the times it is like, man, I pushed everything I got. I think I got it again.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see if I got it.
Well, and then
I failed doing that so many times. But a couple times I surprised myself and actually done it. I'm like, cool, I actually got to be that tough, like for real.
Yeah.
You know, like that's awesome. Now I feel, man, when people ask about the runner's high, and I, you know, at this point,
I'm just going to talk about that.
Semi-notoriously tell people, I don't get that.
Yeah.
Most of the time. I don't get that. I'm out here because I need to maintain. I need my knees to work. I need to do this stuff. And, but when I do get the runner's high, it's that, right?
Yeah.
Where you're going, and you're like, man, I'm pushing hard. This is really tough. Okay. Nope. Be tougher. You're good. Take a few breaths. Ooh, I got it again.
Yeah.
Let's go again.
Yeah.
You know, let's go hit this. So like you're doing a 6-mile run, you're 3 miles in, like, man, I pushed those 3 miles pretty hard. I'm kind of feeling it. While running, do those 3 calm, big breaths.
Yeah.
Like I could do another 5K hard.
Yeah.
Let's go. You know, and then, man, and then when that clicks and it all works, that's one of the best feelings in the world.
Yeah, the runner's high I don't think I've ever experienced what people commonly refer to a runner's high.
Sure.
But the first time I experienced something similar was the first mile I ever ran. So I was 8.
Yeah.
I think we went to the track over at when the Northwood had a track. And we ran 4 laps, and like it was because I was at an age where I could finally do track, I think.
Yeah.
You know, I was finally the first time.
Yeah, in 5th grade.
Something like that, yeah. And so I did it. I don't remember what time I got. I think it was 7 minutes. I think it was like a 7-minute or 7:30, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
And I finished, and I was like dying, just gasping. You know, like that you haven't experienced that yet.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, I feel amazing. Like I feel so good. I remember that feeling. Like
that's cool.
I want to go do that right now. Like I can run faster than that again. Like this minute. And like and I think Dad was like, yeah, like we're not going to do it again.
Yeah.
Like you don't need to do it. Try again.
Right.
Like that was a good time. That was a good rest. But yeah, that feeling of how you just felt so good
Yeah.
right after. I don't think I've ever experienced it quite like that again.
Sure.
But I felt amazing.
That's super fun. Yeah, that's cool. And that's so cool that you have that memory.
Yeah, it's really vivid.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I don't have those early on like that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, my early memories were very much like, it was just, when it started like second grade, go run with my dad. you
Yeah.
know, and we go get 2 miles in, especially back then. Yeah, it was 2 miles, maybe a little bit short of 2 miles when we, go do a trail run together. And that was more just training, Dad was just teaching me to like, okay, we're going to go and, you don't get to stop.
Right.
Never.
Yeah. Those little tricks of
Never stopping. And so we're running. He's like, I know this hill's tough. We can go as slow as you want to. We can go way slower than walking.
Yeah.
But we're still going to run, and it's those things that's what stands out back then. And then trying to out sprint him at the end, which I don't think I ever beat him.
Yeah.
Like, quite seriously. Yeah. So I started doing it in high school. We'd go for runs together, and I still couldn't out sprint him for the last like quarter mile.
Yeah.
I still couldn't do it. So what I do instead is I'd lightly push him, starting like a mile before. You know, just like run like a half a step ahead of him. So you'd have to go a little faster, a little faster, a little faster. It's like, because the only way I'm beating you for this last quarter mile is if you're dead by the time we get there.
Right.
And even then, I'm not sure if that even ever worked. I did try.
Yeah. It's funny, just the difference of memories from like the things that Dad has taught you or taught me. Cause like, I don't remember ever going for runs with Dad, maybe 1 or 2 times, but if so, it was with you too.
Well, it was a different stage of life because it would have been 6 years later.
Exactly. Yeah. But what I do remember is working peripherally on the things that he would talk about. So I remember practicing my start with rocks in the cul-de-sac. Because, Dad would always talk about this, how you start, this is what you do. Like, okay, I got to practice my start from the blocks. Or how his feet would turn out. And so he would practice running lines. And I'm like, oh, well, I should probably do that too. Because I bet my feet will turn out too. My feet didn't turn out at all. Yeah. But I'm like, oh, I got to make sure my feet are in line so I don't run into that problem later. Like, so I would work on all the things that he would talk about at like 7, 8 years old.
Do you ever think through how often our games outside became like training for Olympic sports?
What do you mean?
Oh, so it was always something like that. Like we were doing, not always. Sometimes it was just pure creativity and stuff like that. But I was thinking the other day about, especially like rollerblading. Yeah. When we're real little, it's not like you were like 3.
I think I know where you're going. I think this is all your fault, but go ahead.
Oh, it is. I'm sure it is all my fault. But but I like to feel like we all did this together. It wasn't just all my idea. But we would create like slalom courses down the hill with chalk.
Oh yeah.
So I did that.
And we would time.
And then you had to add a jump.
Had a jump.
So we added the jump. Sometimes we added the jump in halfway down the hill.
Yeah.
It's like in the middle of one of the gates, we add a jump.
Yep.
And then I remember, because this is before it was before rollerblading became a thing. Like you never saw anyone do tricks on rollerblades. That was not a thing that existed yet.
No.
And so we did that, and then we found a jump in the woods that we then rebuilt.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that?
No.
So I'm sure some of the skater kids up the street built a ramp.
Yeah.
And then had to get rid of it. So in the woods, I ran across the ramp, and so then I rebuilt the ramp, and it had a short side and a tall side.
Yeah.
And so eventually we started setting that, but we didn't know if we could go off that ramp and land on concrete. So we set it up so we'd land in grass.
Yep.
I remember just trying to mimic what I was watching on the Olympics at the time of like, okay, if I can hit this ramp fast, I probably want to do it just like the guys that hit what's it called in ski jumping, when you do the really long jump, where they go like 100 meters.
Yeah.
So I tried to go off, keep my hands to my side, and then pull my toes up, catch as much air with those things possible, and then land on the grass and tumble. Do that, and then it was like, and then after I got real comfortable doing like the long jump thing with it, then I was like, okay, now I'm gonna practice the other ski jumps. Yeah. So they're like daffies and spread eagles and all that stuff in the grass. then it was like, okay, now we should put it mid course.
Yeah.
Or we put it at the bottom of the course. We do our course down the hill.
Yep.
And then go off the jump and do your Olympic style ski trick.
Yeah, I don't remember the specifics of all of those games, but I remember there being a lot of competition. Not necessarily between us, but competition-focused games.
We were never trying to go faster than each other.
No, it was just about, but we would still time it sometimes.
Yeah.
And like, it would still like a competition, but it wasn't, it just wasn't between any of, it wasn't between you and me and Tiana. It was just What was your time? Okay, do better next time.
And we were all,
that type of thing.
and because we were all 3 years apart, it was stupid. Like, you know,
Right.
again, yeah, you were 3.
There
and I
was no
9.
competition.
We're
right.
not going to compete. That'd be
No.
stupid, you know. And so, yeah, we always had things like that happening. Oh, and then we did it with ski poles for a while too. Do you remember that?
No, I don't remember the
Oh
ski
yeah,
poles.
we totally used ski poles with the rollerblades.
No, my memory was more of the jumps, especially was when we found that piece of metal, like the thick piece of metal that we got from somewhere.
We still have it.
We still have it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! But that thing, and we just like would prop it up on stuff, and that was a jump
on the
forever.
recycling bin.
Yeah,
And you were good until it fell off.
and yeah, it slipped. Yeah, it was all pretty competition based, or pretty like training, not competition, training.
Yeah, it was
all
training-based, like,
training style.
we're gonna
Like,
do
all right,
these
how was your
sports.
time? Oh, you missed the cone. Okay, let's make the course more challenging this time.
Right.
Can we slalom the whole hill?
Right?
And can you slalom it on your bike, on your rollerblades? Can you? Yeah. Got to work on that turn a little bit better.
On a big wheel.
Yeah, on a big wheel.
Remember the big wheels? And we shredded the front of the wheels
Yep.
because the best way to stop was to turn totally sideways.
Yeah, you
Just
know,
shred right through 'em.
it's just about what works best.
Yep. And then we watched Thrashing.
I do not remember thrashing. I don't.
Well, I
or
saw
not
it-
thrashing. I'm sorry, it's not called thrashing.
Thrashing. Yeah. I saw it at Josh's house.
Yeah.
And then so I don't think you guys ever saw it, but I
No.
saw it. And there was a skateboard race at the end.
Yep.
And he had broken his arm
Yeah.
at a half pipe joust with a fire in the middle of the half pipe.
course.
Yeah, of course, right?
Oh my
As
God.
we do as skateboarders sometimes.
absolutely,
We're really not
always.
supposed to talk about. I mean, like this is something people outside
Yes.
skateboard world probably don't know.
No, they don't. know that.
But yeah, it is a pretty normal rite of passage to get into your skateboard crew is to
really
have a
is.
joust in a half pipe with a fire in the middle.
It's kind of like you're not really supposed to talk about it. You're not supposed to
Yeah.
post about it.
This is
at
a
all
running
either.
podcast, so it's okay to talk about it here.
It's
This
no
right crowd.
skaters will get on us for it.
Yeah, but yeah, we don't talk about that too much.
Yeah, the half pipe joust with fire is kind of
It's just the
initiation.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I saw that and he had broken his arm in the joust, and so then he duct taped his whole arm
Yeah.
so he could put it on the ground so he could turn faster. And so I did the same thing on big wheels.
Yeah.
So I could drag my hand, or I could wreck at the bottom and not get hurt. I put on like 4
Yeah.
sweatshirts,
Yeah.
duct tape my hands, and then tumble off the thing at the bottom so that Ty could win. Because again,
Yeah.
it was not a fair competition. We had to have a competition. We're gonna have a race.
Of course.
Someone's got to win. It's not fair if I win. I'm heavier. I'm just gonna beat her.
Yeah,
anyway.
exactly.
So I'd follow at the end, so she got to win. So then we could go back and race again.
That's so funny.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then
Oh, man.
mom stayed inside.
Yeah, mom stayed inside until we had to run in because something was wrong.
Yeah. Remember
Yeah.
Mike?
Usually me.
Yeah.
Usually I fell and scraped something because I was trying to take jumps that I probably shouldn't have been
Because
taking.
you're 3.
Yeah. But mom, I mean, that to her credit, I remember we actually have video of this one. Well, no, we don't have video of the fall. We have video of the situation where we were all going off in a row
Yep.
and I was in the middle or something. I went off the jump and you hear this like a 2-second gap because I
Full
just like
2 seconds.
shredded the side of my hip and my elbow and everything. But I went in, told mom, I was probably crying a little bit, and she threw some stuff on me, and I was like, didn't want to ask, I'm like, can I go back outside? And she's like, sure.
Right.
I went out. I think I did it at least one more time.
Yeah.
Before I kind of sat out for a while, but
It was important. We took that get back on the horse. We took that
I
seriously.
still take it very
Yeah.
seriously.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
fell down. Nope. Go do it.
Have
Quick.
to do it again.
Quick.
Especially if it was scary.
Yep. Before it sets in.
I do that with Lockwood, and he's 2.
Right?
I'm like, I did that when he was 18 months. He jumped off something, and he got hurt.
Yeah.
Like, because he didn't jump off right. I'm like, gotta do it again.
Right.
You're not going to be scared of jumping at 18 months.
Yeah,
Like, we got to do this.
Yeah. The other reason you probably lost so much skin, I don't remember this either though, but we also had to get the best possible time.
Yeah.
So we were in spandex.
Oh, of course.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because your aerodynamics matter.
It's just shredded the shorts.
right through them.
Okay, I know we got to wrap it up, but I'm gonna say this here
Okay.
to hold myself accountable.
All right.
We might have mentioned it last time, but my goal for the summer is to work on my 100.
Okay.
So I need to
I like how your goal is to work on 100.
Well, no. Here it is. No, I'm
just gonna. My goal is to practice a little bit.
My goal is to
with
do
no determined
a
outcome.
sprint sometime. Well, I don't know what my goal is because I haven't done one.
Sure.
So I'm really
You
curious.
gotta figure out what is
how fast my 100 meters is right now.
So is the goal to kind of
My goal is to improve.
to find out what can you do 100?
My goal is 2 parts. One, to see where I'm at, see how fast my 100 is, and then see how much I can improve upon it within the summer.
Okay.
Right. So I need to get my baseline soon.
Yeah.
Of where my 100's at, and of course, I'm probably very delusional of where I think it's gonna be.
Yeah.
But I'm aware. So like in my head, in high school, I ran. I rarely did the 100 meters. I did like twice or 3 times. I did an 11-second. Right. So not that quick, but I think I was also a sophomore.
Sure.
Right? So, which is I'm kind of bummed I never did it in college because I was a lot faster in college.
Right.
But anyway, so 11 seconds. So I know I'm not that fast. I'm thinking I'm like high 12s.
Okay.
So I'm probably 15.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Is that tracks?
Well,
if I think I'm here, I'm probably further out than I actually am.
So in my head, I could for sure do a 15-second. In my head, because I've done a 60-second quarter.
Yeah.
And if I've done a 60-second quarter, then okay, well then I don't do that very often. And at my age, that's a 15-second 100.
Right.
Well, that's only a quarter of that.
No problem.
You know, I'm 4 times as old. I can probably go a quarter of that's that's no problem. When in reality, I think a 15-second 100 is probably the fastest I've ever gone.
Probably, yeah. So anyway, so I by the time we do this next one, hopefully I'll have my baseline of where I'm at.
Okay.
So then we can see how quick I can get it.
This might be the first challenge that's come out that I am not even remotely tempted to take on too.
Yeah, and you don't need to. That's fine.
Yeah, but usually a challenge is out there. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Like, this is like,
it's because it's.
Well, I'm going to be terrible at that.
Well, and
doesn't matter what I do.
It's short, so there's nothing to work on.
Yeah, well, I don't even need to work out for this. I can go do it today, and then we'll know.
Exactly. But yeah, so we'll see how it goes.
Cool.
Done.
Yeah, sweet.
Cool.